want to talk to you this morning about an experience I had this week. I am with my niece in Illinois, and she's a cross-country runner, which I'm really still not sure why people run cross-country, because actually they don't run cross-country. They just run in circles on golf courses or in parks. But they love to run. There's something about running that must be a part of their DNA want. It's not a part of mine. I was really thankful when the doctor said, you probably shouldn't be running with your bad knees. And I said, well, thank you very much. But it really was quite interesting to watch the race, because Jenna walked me through the race. We kind of walked through the park, and she kind of showed me where they went in the line, and they kind of got to go into a woods and come back out and go into another woods, and then they came back around a football field. And so I kind of did know the paths that they would take. What I didn't know a lot of things. Number one, I didn't really know how far they were running. They were running 3 miles. I didn't really know exactly if I was to run it, I'd have been lost. But I did know where the finish line was, because that's very, very clearly marked. But I want to kind of tie it into Hebrews. So Hebrews 12, I think it's the NIV, says, therefore, since we're surrounded by such a great cloud of witnesses, let us throw off everything that hinders and the sin that so easily entangles, and let us run the race with perseverance, the race marked out for us, fixing our eyes on Jesus, the pioneer and perfecter of our faith. For the joy set before him, he endured the cross, scorning its shame, and sat down at the right hand of God. Now, I kind of really like the message, because it kind of breaks it down sometimes a little better. But it's pretty close to the same thing. But the one thing it says at the very end, it says, consider him who endured opposition so that you will not grow weary and lose heart. Well, I walked down to the first big turn after they went around the football field. And, by the looks of their faces, most of them had lost heart. But they hadn't lost their focus. They were running. They looked miserable. They looked like they needed a long, deep breath. Some of them, I should have ditched their glasses earlier, because a couple of them were trying to be cool with sunglasses, and they were falling off their nose. But it was really, really fun to watch. I kind of hung around at the different places, and the crowds were there with bells and cowbells and cheering everybody on, and I kind of just hung around and waited for those who took forever. And my thought was, who's going to encourage them? Because the rest of the people are going on with the rest of the group, because the group kind of runs together. But I did notice that there were a few, whether they were parents or coaches, kind of hung around and waited. So those last people running heard some encouragement, as they ran. What was probably the most interesting thing was listening to the parents and the people in the sidelines, because I really don't know if they were parents, the things they said. So one of the first thing I heard was, get the lead out. And I out loud, before I could stop myself, said, what does lead have to do with running? And the 2 ladies beside me looked at me and go, oh, we don't know. And I thought, well, I didn't know how to get the lead out, but definitely running wouldn't have done it for me. Some other things people said is, you got it, keep it up, keep breathing. Now, I thought that was a good one. Yes, definitely. Keep breathing. That's a good way. Keep your head up, because I guess when your head goes down, you're looking at the ground, you're not breathing. I'm sure there's lots of reasons. Don't look behind you. That's always a temptation. You'd see people looking behind, especially toward one of the last legs, see who's coming behind them. Make a move, Megan. I heard that a lot. Now, I don't know if there was a lot of Megans in the race, or if I just always happened to be around Megan, but make a move, Megan. And I think they were indicating that she can step up in a place or run faster. Hold that pace. Push through it. You can do it. The one was, quit dawdling. And I'm going, dawdling? They're going faster than you are. They're not dawdling. We're the ones dawdling. Finish strong. Don't let them leave you. Which I thought was kind of funny, because we're all, I'm just sitting listening to all these people yell who aren't running. And they're yelling at these poor kids who are running, who, when you're out on a ball field or you're participating in something, I really don't know how much you hear from people on the sidelines anyway. Finish strong. But it was really interesting, because now I get to the finish line and I start listening to people talk after the finish line. First of all, people really looked like they were going to throw up when they crossed the finish line, and they looked miserable. They looked miserable. No two ways about it. But it was kind of interesting because all around the course, people are encouraging, and they were really trying to get the kids to keep what the focus was. And the focus was to finish the race. And the finish line, the last leg of the race, I guess, is everybody's coming down the finish line. And there's a lot of things that happened at the end of that finish line. People suddenly got energized because it was almost done. They started running faster. And the one thing I noticed is that they started, whoever was beside them, regardless of what colored jersey they had, which, there was 4 teams in the race. So there was 2 greens and I think 2 reds. But you could tell on the names of the jerseys, the kids weren't from the same school, but yet they started racing when they could see that finish line. And they wanted to end with a very strong spurt of energy. And a lot of times they were racing each other because they wanted a better time than, let me beat somebody. It was really interesting because some of the things I heard, finish strong, finish to the line. And more than one kid started slowing down before they reached that line with the big clock ticking that told them what their times were. And then it was interesting because then I started listening to the kids. And of course, I don't know anybody really, so I'm listening to kids. And I heard one girl say, well, I kicked it up and really started running fast. And then I realized I had another lap to go. And I thought, well, now that's kind of funny because I'd have been about laying down on the course by then. And then another boy said to his mom, he said, I thought I had an aneurysm. I was running so hard. And I'm not sure he knew what an aneurysm was, and then I listened to 2 parents talking, and they were talking about a girl who came in running, not effortlessly, but she was right at the front. And they said she had a lot of kick left in her. She had too much. And I'm thinking, how do you know how much kick? Well, of course, I don't run, so how do you really know how much kick to have and where to push it and where to give it your all? And how to, how to determine I've got a lap left. How much more do I have within me? But the funniest one was his mom was saying to the boy, she goes, are you coughing because you have allergies or coughing because you need to throw up? And I'm like going, I'm out of here. But what that whole race really taught me or really showed me and reminded me is that we need to encourage. And I know that the kids running that weren't the Megans and weren't the Alexes and weren't some of the other names that I heard used a lot, I'm sure that encouraged them too to keep going, because whoever was getting encouraged and being encouraged by, telling them tidbits of wonderful advice for running, I guess, I would think that even as we encourage people, the people that are around people we're encouraging are encouraged. Because there is something about hearing somebody say you're almost done, or you're almost there, or you're doing well. Even if they don't recognize the voice, it puts it inside your head to do better, to do well, to know that you're almost done, to know that you're going to finish the race. And we need to encourage. We need to stand at the finish lines of people's lives. And I don't mean it at their deathbeds, although that sometimes does apply. I mean at the things in life that we are doing. There's going to be finish lines of all sorts of things in life. And I was with the grandbabies yesterday, and that finish line has been over a long time for me. But I need to encourage my daughter, because there will be a time where she will be finished with a toddler and finished with the baby and be on to some other race, some other event in her life. And we need to encourage people in the race they're in at the moment. And we need to encourage them to stay on the course and to know where they're running and why they're running and who they're running for, and that it does matter. And we need to remember that our words do make a difference in people's lives. And so to encourage and to spur on does really help the heart. And I'm watching these kids as they finally got their breath and they're just walking around later talking about the race, and they're laughing. Okay, now none of them laughed crossing the line. They were all gasping for breath and they were all, dying. But after they'd had a few minutes to analyze it and to think about it, they started really seeing some good things, and I was listening to them talk about the different times they kicked and when they came through this part of the woods and when they came around that corner. And I'm thinking, the more removed we are from our races and our finish lines, because sometimes the finish lines that we end up having to do in life do get a little traumatic. When we step back and look at it, number one, we see that we made it. Number two, we know and we identify those who encouraged us along the way. But more importantly, when they crossed that finish line, that race might have been done, but they were looking forward to Saturday. Saturday's another one. Saturday's another something. And we all have something else that will be happening down the road. So encourage people in their finish lines, at their finish lines, in their races. Talk about the race after you're done and move on. A couple of kids coming by say, that wasn't my best one, but next time I'll do this. And the analysis of just how they did and what it meant and how important it is, I think, to encourage. Because I just watched all these kids and the parents and people, and I'm assuming they were parents, but there was a lot of people just cheering them on. And that is so important in life. It's so important to just hear people's encouragement. So it's important for us who are encouraging to be vocal and to share. And like the Bible verse says, we have a great amount of witnesses that are watching us. And I think we as the witnesses need to be a little more vocal to encourage those to persevere, to fix our eyes on Jesus, to be a part of other people's races so they don't get discouraged and so they don't quit. So have a great day. Thanks.